Hey everybody, this is tutorial number 2 on the double day play. And I told you in the very beginning that we want to buy an option that's out of the money and it needs to move across strike prices. And as it moves across the very next strike price, it will at least double its value if it's played on a Thursday or Friday with the option expiring on that Friday, a 1 or 2 day play. Well, let's go into that just a little bit more. And we're looking at Facebook right now. And Facebook, I'm going to scroll down to an out of the money. And generally, what you're looking for is you want to buy it just out of the money, and have it cross strike prices to being just in the money. Because as it crosses that strike price and goes from out of the money to in the money, you're going to get an explosion in value. And there's a reason why it's exploding in value. We're going to go over those details and the additional tutorials for this play. But right now, we're just going to give you the general overview and then explain to you how you can narrow down your choice of options that you want to consider. Now, as I say that, of course, this is a directional play, so that means you can either play a call or a put, and you have to be reasonably sure of your direction, pretty sure of your directions, which means you have to use all of the other skill sets that we've provided to you for technical trading to identify, the potential direction of a stock that's bouncing off of trend lines, bouncing off of moving day averages, etc. Use all those skills that we've talked about in the past, but we're going to buy it just out of the money and have it cross just into the money. And so the first thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that those strike prices are fairly close together. You need to be looking at options that have a strike price of $1 or less in separation. So if the strike price is $50, the very next strike price needs to be $51, and the very next strike price below $50 needs to be $49. So there's at least a $1 separation in the strike prices, $1 or less. In this particular case in Facebook, I have strike prices in 50-cent intervals. That's awesome. That's less than $1. So $1 or less, okay? That's going to give us greater potential to cross that barrier from being out of the money to in the money and getting that explosion. Okay. The second thing that we need to do is we need to figure out, does that stock, does it have the necessary average movement in it a day to move that dollar or move that 50 cents? Well, there's a way we can help identify that, and that's using something called implied volatility. So we're in our eOption account. I'm going to scroll up just so that you can see the column. Here's the column right here, the implied volatility column. I'm going to scroll down. Here's our just out of the money option right here. And we see an implied volatility of 97.84%. To keep our math simple, because we are about to do some math, so pull out your calculators, we're just going to round that up to 98%. Now, this is going to be probably different on the day of the option. So if you're scouring through different options and you're not looking on a Thursday or Friday, you may see it 10 days to expiration, it may be 34%. But on the last day of expiration, it may be considerably higher than that. In fact, it will be higher. You'll get the most implied volatility on the last day as the stock or as the option is about to expire that Friday. On the very last day, you'll get the most implied volatility. Now, I'm going to take that number, 98%, okay, and I am going to do some math, and you know what? I'm not even going to tell you what the math is. I'm just going to give it to you like this to keep it simple. Every 16% of implied volatility is 1% movement in the projected movement of the stock. Every groups of 16% equals a 1% movement in the underlying stock, okay? A 1% movement in the stock, meaning it's going to move 1% in a day, okay? Well, my implied volatility is 98%. I'm rounding up. So I'm going to take 98, remember I'm rounding up, 98 divided by 16 equals 6.125. So I'm just going to round that up, and we're just going to call it 6.1. So then I'm going to take and find out what the actual value of the stock is, and I can look up here and see it's 58.94. I'm going to round that up to $59. So we're going to take 59 minus 6.1% equals $3.59. So this particular stock is going to move $3.59 in a day. Its average movement is $3.59 in a day. Now that, of course, is changing every day, every single day. It's changing, by the minute. But that's what this is projecting to do. That's the movement in the stock, 3.59 or $3.59. Well, this is 50-cent intervals. Okay, so that means $3.60 divided by 50-cent intervals equals 7.2 or 7 strike prices. So that means that this particular stock has the potential to cross 7 strike prices in a day. I only needed to cross one. I only needed to cross one strike price to get from just out of the money to just in the money. But this is showing me that it has the potential to cross 7 strike prices. So that means it's going to just explode in value as it goes up. So I may not get 100% movement on this particular option. I may get 500, 700, 800, 1,000% movement on this particular option. So this is definitely one that I would be considering if it was on a Friday, if the implied volatility was where it is right now. We're 6 days to expiration. So all of this is going to change as we get to closer to the actual expiration time frame, Thursday or Friday. But that shows you the potential. Let's look at another one, okay? This is MRK. It's a drug company, Merck. And as we can see, if you go down here, it also has strike prices within 50-cent intervals. Okay, but does it have the appropriate applied volatility? Well, as I look over here, I have an 18.75% implied volatility. So let's do our math again. Remember, every 16 percentage points equals a 1% movement in the underlying stock in a day. And we have 18.75. I'm just going to keep my math simple. I'm going to round it up and say 19. So 19 divided by 16, how many times will 16 go into 19? It'll go into it 1.1875 times. I'm going to round that up and call it 1.2. We'll just call it 1.2. My actual price of the stock is $56.47. We'll call it 56. So 56 minus 1.2% equals 67 cents of movement in a day. So this can cross at least one strike price because our strike prices are in 50-cent intervals, and we get on average 67 cents worth of movement in a day. So this still has the potential to cross one strike price, meaning we can go from just out of the money to just in the money and catch that explosion in value and have our option at least double in value. Now, again, you're looking at prices on these options where you don't see a doubling occurring, but remember, we have 6 days to expiration, and you're going to see something much different on Thursday and Friday, with expiration day being Friday. You're going to see tremendously different ones. And that's why I told you in the very beginning that I want you to paper trade this process first, so you can actually get to Thursday, Friday, see what those values actually are, do a little math to make sure that you're indeed finding the right option that has the greatest potential to move across strike prices and therefore fall into the money. But that's what you do. Take the implied volatility, divide it by 16, and that will give you your percentage of movement on a day. Then take the actual price of the stock minus that percentage, and that will give you the actual dollar amount that it will move in a day. And that will tell you if it has the potential to move across strike prices. If you have any questions, of course, you can always pick up the phone and call us. Our number here is 405-703-0704. We also have a contact form at the website, but I would prefer it if you just pick up the phone and give us a call, because I know you may have some questions at this point. And remember, we're just getting started in this tutorial. Now let's move to the next tutorial, and we'll talk about why we actually get that explosion in value. And there's 3 different reasons on why we get that explosion. Okay, so move to the next tutorial whenever you can.